Om Sai Ram, Namaste. We are with Gautamji once again, continuing the series on the life of Annasaheb Gavankar. And we're discussing the pointers in this very important book, A Jewel of Sai Devotion. And today, Gautamji, we'll discuss this pointer on the lives of saints and the significance of that. So, firstly, thank you very much for your time. And if you can shed some light on this very important pointer shared by Anna.
Yes, in fact, I marked something specifically because it is very close to my heart. So, Annasaheb is saying, Sant Tukaram adds, those who come in proximity of saints get ultimate peace and bliss, and then they understand the importance of being in close contact with saints. There are many types of karmas in this ephemeral world, but these actions will never give eternal pleasure. On the contrary, attachment binds the jiva more and more firmly to the world. The jiva gets burnt in the fire of attachments. To be in the company of saints and Mahatmas is the easiest way for spiritual upliftment. Note here, he is not saying to acquire knowledge, he is not saying do this, do that. It's very simple. Being in the company of saints, that is the saint's greatness which is working. Sant Tukaram writes in another of his abhangs, pleasure can only be obtained in the proximity of saints or noble persons. The happiness that one gets at the lotus feet of saints is infinite. So clearly, he is not talking of transient pleasures. He is talking of true happiness. He goes on to say, it is unparalleled. Once a person experiences that happiness, he does not want to move away from those lotus feet. He finds bliss everywhere. He forgets the sorrows of the mundane world and his troubles vanish. He experiences peace and shanti. The burning fire of vasanas within gets extinguished. The body and mind become cool as stability is achieved. This is a key word, stability. The ego creates flames of fire, but this happiness calms the mind and the ego. You see, for me, this Sukha Shanti, or one could call it, he's used the word stability, which I would say is Sahaj Sthiti, the natural state, where we are not swinging like an equilibrium all the time in the mundane world between the polaric opposites. We are like the pendulum which is in equilibrium at the center. You could call it the Buddha's middle path. So here Annasaheb, quoting Tukaram, is saying that it is the company of saints, which is their greatness, which enables all this to happen. It burns up the vasanas, it stabilizes us, it puts us in true happiness, which is Sukha Shanti, not happiness dependent on pleasures, and that is therefore the importance of saints. Very beautiful actually. I mean, of course, I am so grateful that he has quoted the revered Tukaram so often. And he says, he goes on to say, Annasaheb goes on to say, the state of calmness is a very sweet experience. I love this line. It is truly, you realize it is such a sweet experience when you are calm. You know, for me, this pointer is pointing to the bare basics of equanimity, peace and calm, and he is repeatedly pointing to it, Nick. In this specific pointer, no other pointer has so much emphasis as the connection between the greatness of saints and peace, equanimity, and calm. It's very beautiful. I was very touched by this pointer. If you can just allow me to read what is left, because I marked it all actually. I mean, attachment to worldly objects burns out the knowledge that is the intellect. Indulgence in sensual pleasure burns out the body. But in the proximity of the saints, the body, senses, mind and intellect calm down. Darshan, sparshan, sambhashanam, smaran and shikvan. Seeing, touching, conversing, remembering and precepts, respectively, of the saints can calm everything that is burning inside. You see, Nick, because we are volcanoes, this burning inside, which makes us react all the time, which makes us hate people, which makes us condemn. What he is saying is that the greatness of saints is it kind of extinguishes this fire. We become more sattvic, you could say. It's like a soothing balm applied on the body. It is so well expressed. If one is fortunate enough to receive their company, he gets intrinsic peace, the absolute calm. See, Annasaheb is hammering this point home. Every 3 lines he is saying, calm, calm, calm. Company of saints, which means I feel a true devotee of a saint, a true devotee of Baba will know for himself or herself how calm and peaceful have I become is a reflection of the company I keep with my master and my master's teachings. It is bound to create that transformation within. If that transformation has not happened and you still find that you are this, volcano of reactions and negativity, then you have not recognized and realized the greatness of the master. If that had happened, this would happen. This is what Annasaheb is saying. That is the greatest gift the company of saints can give you is this. So for those who think they are doing seva to their master, who are in the company of their master, in satsang with their master, but have not felt this transformation, it is something to be looked at. I feel here there's a very hidden...
There was a pointer you would often share that Bhagwan Ramana would say, the mark, if you've met a true saint, is the degree of peace you feel within.
Yes, the degree of peace and the sense of respect you feel for them. But the degree of peace you feel in their presence. Just walking into that room, you feel it, Nick.
You know, so much so that Robert Adams would say this, the Advaita sage. He would say the shortcut or the quickest path for spiritual progress is to come to a saint's feet and serve the master, one. That, and second is the sadhana the master gives. But he said this first one supersedes everything. Now, so much so that a very beautiful example in the life of Bhagwan Ramana, one man used to fan him for 40 years. They never exchanged a word. One day that man dropped dead in front of Bhagwan, and Bhagwan said he's not coming back. 40 years he just fanned Bhagwan, never said a word. That he was completely immersed in that seva, and that's it.
It's beautiful. And I must say, just so I can explain to others, because I experienced the benefit of being with my guide, my teacher, I helped publish some of his books. So I was closely working with him together on the sequence of the chapters, and it was very enjoyable. I was enjoying it. And I considered it as seva because I didn't have, I was not very wealthy where I could give big dakshina and all. This was my seva, right? And I didn't realize how much I benefited. It was only in hindsight, because when you are editing, Nick, you're proofreading like once, twice, third time, fourth time, fifth time. By the time in the night you're sleeping, all that is going on in your head. It got internalized. And then I remembered one movie I saw when I was young. It was called The Karate Kid. And in that, the master is showing his student how to wipe windows. And I remember, I don't know the words, but he says you must move the cloth in a certain direction like this. And that poor fellow is constantly practicing this. But little does he know that that is a master move in karate. And so when the time comes for him to perform that move in karate, it's so automatic because the master had taught him that move. So doing seva, cleaning windows, we think I'm cleaning the window, but something else is happening. We are marinating in something which is beyond our comprehension. My teacher would say, life is like 100-meter long painting in a museum in the night. You cannot see it. But you have a tiny torch, so you are only seeing one sliver and passing your whole judgment only on what you see. That is how limited we are. So this reminds me of this example that this calmness, this calm, all these qualities which he have mentioned, it will be imbibed when we are in this company of the greatness of saints.
So Gautam, I was very blessed to be with my Guru, who was a Siddha Purush for more than 10 years. And his masters, he was with them since the tender age of 4. So I asked Papa once, some devotees would pose this question that, in today's world, there's so many teachers and guides out there. How do we know, who is a true master? So Papa summed it up beautifully in one line. He said, "Beta, हमेशा याद रखना, सद्गुरु को तुम्हारी कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है." And that is a very important pointer I have seen. So if you're very patient, as Baba says, saburi, in one of the earlier series, Seeing Through the Illusion, I had said this: whose need is it? You need the master, you go for the grace. And if you're really blessed and fortunate, will you be able to come in their proximity and serve them if you're very, very fortunate? But I do feel in today's era, keeping that thing of discrimination is also very important, because Baba summed it up beautifully कि सतगुरु को तुम्हारी कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है.